Welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Jerry Oginski, a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law here in the state of New York. Today's topic involves improperly administered anesthesia leading to death. What happened? A young man underwent an appendix surgery at a local hospital in Manhattan and was told that it would be a routine procedure. He'd been in and out the same day. The problem was the anesthesiologist over-anesthetized him, and as a result, after the surgery, had difficulty waking the patient up. So they told the patient, you know what, because you're so groggy and sleepy, we're going to admit you overnight to the hospital and just to watch you. Well, that was the first problem. What the doctor should have done was the doctor should have administered reversal medications, which have the effect of reversing certain anesthetics, which literally will wake the patient up sufficiently so that they are able to go home. That's the first thing that went wrong. The second thing was that when the patient was sent to a regular medical floor in the hospital, it was an unmonitored floor. So here we have a young, healthy patient who just had appendix surgery and now is recuperating on a medical floor. The patient was groggy and overly tired, and unfortunately for this particular patient, was never monitored. On a regular medical floor in a hospital, you will be lucky if the nurses come around every 4 hours to check on your vital signs, to make sure you're still alive and still breathing. Unfortunately for this patient, the nurses did not come around every 4 hours. They came around every 6 hours. And as a result of that, when somebody finally came in the middle of the night to check on the patient to take his vital signs, they recognized that he was not breathing and had no heart rate. They called a code, which is an emergency term meant that doctors come running to try and revive and resuscitate the patient. The problem was the patient's heart and lungs had stopped for an extended period of time. And when you revive a patient at that point, the brain has suffered tremendous lack of oxygen, brain damage. The body can only sustain a certain amount of time without oxygen. Even though the emergency team was able to revive this patient, he was literally severely and permanently brain damaged. He needed to be intubated to have a tube breathe for him. He was unresponsive to any type of stimuli and was in the intensive care unit for 7 days until he deteriorated and he suffered something known as multi-system organ failure, which means that every one of the organs in his body are shutting down because they've been harmed from the brain damage as a result of the initial lack of oxygen. Had they recognized he was over-anesthetized, had him properly monitored on a floor, and revived him in a timely fashion, this young man would be alive today. And that's it for today's video tip about brain damage and death resulting from improper administration of anesthesia. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm Jerry Oginski. Have a great day.